Hello there guys, and welcome to this weekend's action of IFMC, the first round of the Season 4 IFMC Championship. And I am JWF1, and happy St. Patrick's Day to everyone. And we are here at Melbourne for the first race of the Season 4 IFMC Championship, the first qualifying session of the season. And if you didn't see what happened in pre-season testing, there's a load of them now on YouTube in a playlist. I thoroughly recommend you go and well, not see all of it, but just see snippets of it before you come here. And as you can see, bright and sunny conditions here at Melbourne, and a couple of headlines to get you going. 7 out of the 11 teams competing in this have brought upgrades to this race in Melbourne, so as predicted. Not going to name them, of course, but another thing as well, some more headlines that came out, of course, obviously the news that Eldorado have cancelled the idea of Scott Dixon driving for their car this season. And on top of that as well, we will not be going to the Chinese Grand Prix next weekend because of the same issue as Monaco. It will be replaced by the Pacific Grand Prix in Adelaide, but we've had to switch it with Brazil, so next weekend we'll be off to the Brazilian Grand Prix in Sao Paulo instead of it being the last round. So I put on Twitter an updated calendar, so if you want to go and see it, then you can. But we're all set to go for the first qualifying session of IFMC. It's bright and sunny here at Melbourne. Whether it will be the case like that tomorrow, we don't know. But without further ado then, guys, let's get to the first qualifying session of Season 4. So, here we are then in the pit lane. 35 minutes on the clock, and we're going to go to the end of the pit lane with Oliver Rowland. I do apologise, not Pascal. It says Pascal Verlaine at the top. So we will wait and wait for some track activity to get the cars going for the first time here at Melbourne. And then obviously we'll be finishing off the season in Australia thanks to going to Adelaide. And we have some track activity in the form of the Shadows. Now, just to let you know, 5 teams are carrying upgraded liveries. One of them being Shadow. As you can see, they're carrying Etihad stickers now on the rear wing. I guess to solidify the fact that they are an Etihad B team. And plus they have Charles Leclerc in this team. Another one is this team right here, Martini. They've now got a blue front nose cone instead of white, and have a new partnership in the form of Queen's Park Rangers Football Club. Considering that the team boss, that's his favourite football team. So they're out on track with a new livery. Sergio Perez is out on track. Pascal Verlaine, AMP is another team with an updated livery. They've got Decra now on the rear wing. Alonso out on track for Etihad. Magnussen is as well. Also updated is GRM. The way the pattern is formed on the planet Earth thing, because it's based on the Honda from 2008, is slightly different. And of course they have Etihad on the rear wing now because they have Daniel Ricciardo as one of their drivers. And Stoffel Vandoorne out there as well, as is Ollie Rowland and Antonio Giovinazzi, as is Nico Hülkenberg, Charles Leclerc, and Valtteri Bottas, and Brandon Hartley as well. Another team that's upgraded their livery is Mars Grand Prix. They've just switched the colours around on their side pod to match with the countries that are on the car. So that's that. Also changed on the Martini are the colours on the top of the side pod as well. They've just switched around as well. But as you can see now then, Sainz was the first man out on track, and he's going to be the first man to set a benchmark of time for everybody to beat. And he starts his lap now, as you can see, heading down towards turn 1 on the track, flicking the car in and through the left-hander we go, out the corner, and now down the back, well, not the back straight, in fact, the second long straight towards turn 3, where Martin Brundle had his rollover in 1996 in real life. And so Sainz now then just going through this sector now then, as he'll be approaching the end of the first sector now then, up towards the left-hander he goes, and he's just passed, I think, the first sector now then. So let's see now then as he just heads down towards the right-hander now then for the first time on his flying lap, getting us close to the wall on the outside here, as he will now go up towards the chicane now, then flicking the car through the left-hander, up towards the chicane he goes. And Sainz so far showing him impression so far in his first appearance in the top class, finally in the top class after being cut off by Red Bull Audi in Season 1 when they were known as Thomas Cook Sport, but now finally makes his debut in the top class, and with a very smart helmet as well to pretty much suit the car. As now up towards the final 2 corners then goes Carlos Sainz Jr., and let's see what the time is going to be for Carlos Sainz, as he'll be the one setting the benchmark of time for everybody to beat. And now heading down the pitch straight. What's the time going to be for Carlos Sainz Jr.? Across the line he goes. It's a 1:26.391 for Carlos Sainz Jr. Max Verstappen coming across the line, and he goes fastest for the moment. So Verstappen at the top of the timing sheet. Sergio Perez goes to second with that lap. Pascal Wehrlein only fourth. Alonso fourth with that lap. As now we'll look at Kevin Magnussen, who just goes through the final 2 corners on the track. Around the final corner and onto the pit straight goes the Dane, and let's see what K-Mag is able to produce. And he goes to second with that lap. Ricciardo goes fourth. Stoffel Vandoorne crossing the line. What can he do in the AMP? He goes to 8th. Ollie Rowland crosses the line. 9th for him. Giovinazzi goes to 10th. A lot of hold-ups then going on this lap. Nico Hulkenberg in the EMR crosses the line. Goes to second with that lap. Charles Leclerc 7th for him in the shadow. Valtteri Bottas only 10th that time around. Here comes Brendan Hartley, the Season 3 IFMC GP2 champion. Just goes around the final corner now then, and Hartley is going to cross the line, and he goes to 10th with that lap. And that's that really. So at the moment it is Verstappen at the top of the timing sheets in the Martini, with Hulkenberg, I believe, in second place at the moment. Alonso down in 8th. Looked like he had a lot of traffic on his lap at the moment. In fact, a lot of teams seem to get a lot of traffic, especially the Bud Light line with Giovinazzi. He seemed to get caught up in quite a bit as well. So like with the testing, we can't see an indication on the first flying laps. We may have to see as the track starts to rubber in a little bit later on, but they only have 35 minutes to play around with in this session, so it's pretty much all to play for in qualifying, as Alonso now dives into the pits along with everybody else that's out here as well, because it's usual with qualifying on this game they only do 1 flying lap and then come back into the pits. So in total they've got a maximum of 4 flying laps to essentially get it right. And now Hartley just going around the left-hander now then, as he'll now go up towards the chicane. And as he'll now go up towards the final few corners on the track. Last season, of course, when we were here at Australia, it was raining, of course, for qualifying, but that doesn't seem to be the case. No prediction of rain here for qualifying here at Melbourne, as Hartley just negotiates through the right-hander. Up towards the final 2 corners goes Brendan, as he'll now dive into the pits. And let's see what Hartley can manage, as he'll now just go through the chicane. And we'll be waiting for some more track activity to come out in the form of Ed Jones. And some updates, you can't quite see it, it's just on the top of the side pod where they've just updated. But there is a slight update to their livery just to suit the colours of the flags that they have. Each flag represented the driver. New Zealand for Scott Dixon, and United Arab Emirates for Ed Jones. So that's that really, as now they just go through the right-hander. Jones preparing to start his next flying lap. Well, his first flying lap of IFMC, because it is his debut season. Raikkonen out on track for Suomi. We also have Esteban Ocon now then out on track for Martini, as is Romain Grosjean. Sebastian Vettel out on track as well. EMR looking quite strong during testing. Dixon coming out, as is Verne. Hulkenberg. Hamilton's also going out there as well, as will Rowland. Will be going back out. Alonso's better to come back out. Sainz is going back out. Alonso going out there. Magnussen, who's currently up in third at the minute. Top 5, Verstappen, Hulkenberg, Magnussen, Perez and Ricciardo. So that's currently that at the minute, as Giovinazzi is about to go back out. But here comes Ed Jones then, about to start his lap. He'll be open. Nobody's at the end of the pit lane to potentially hold him up. But he now just goes through the final 2 corners then on the track. And Jones now then heading down the pit straight. And Jones then preparing to start his next flying lap. Across the line he goes, as he'll now head up towards turn 1 on the track, as the sparks come off the back of his car. And there is somebody in front, and it is Kevin Magnussen. I don't know if that held up the Emirati driver that much, but we will see. As he will now go up towards turn number 3 on the track. Getting the car flicked in now then, as he'll now go through the left-hander now then, heading down towards the flat-out right-hander on the track. And we'll be able to see what Jones's time is going to be like as he flicks the car through the right-hander. And Jones now then, as you can see, losing a little bit of time to Magnussen. Obviously Mars don't have the most competitive package. They are a new team, of course. They have said yesterday in the press conference that it is a learning curve for them. They're not expecting too much in the first season, but they're hoping within the next 5 seasons or so they'll be up there quite soon. But we will wait and see, as Jones now then flicks the car through the chicane. as he will now go up towards the final 4 corners on the track, and we'll be able to see what his first lap is going to be like now then. Getting the car flicked in towards the final few corners. Let's see what Ed Jones is able to do on this lap then. Round the second to last corner and up towards the final corner goes Ed Jones, as he now goes down the pit straight and across the line goes the Emirates driver. What's the time going to be? And it's a 1:28.321, so not a good time from Jones there. Third for Kimi Raikkonen. Suomi look like they've found a corner, it seems, in this. Esteban Ocon crosses the line. He goes second, making it a Martini front row at the moment. So Ocon goes into second. 8th for Romain Grosjean, as we now look at Sebastian Vettel in the EMR. Let's see what he's able to do on his first flying lap as he flicks the car through the left-hander. Up towards the final corner then goes Sebastian Vettel. And now down the pit straight goes the German. And let's see then, Vettel is going to cross the line. What's the time going to be? He goes to third with that lap. So it's P3 for Sebastian Vettel. As we now look at Scott Dixon, who crosses the line in the Mars Grand Prix car. 16th for him. Jean-Eric Verne crossing the line, and it's P16 for Verne. Nico Hulkenberg stays in 4th for that lap. Lewis Hamilton goes fastest. So Hamilton now at the top of the timing sheet. So Hamilton goes fastest for the time being. It's 11th for Carlos Sainz Jr. Here comes Fernando Alonso on his next flying lap. Is this going to be an improvement then for the 3-time champion? And it is. He goes up to 4th. So the top 4 consisting of Etihad and Martinez at this stage, with Vettel down to 5th at the moment, as now Roland heads through the final corner and onto the pit straight he goes, and Roland is going to cross the line. What's the time going to be for him? He stays 20th with that time, no improvement. Antonio Giovinazzi, is this an improvement? Yes, it is, but only to 17th at the moment. So Giovinazzi appearing to struggle around this track. It's still P8 for Kevin Magnussen. So that's that, as his teammate 7. So both Suomi's locking out row 4 at the moment, and both EMR's locking out row 5 at the minute. So quite a group going on at the moment in the top 8. The top 8 consisting of Etihad's, Martinez, EMR's and Suomi's at this stage. And so that's that really, as Vettel will be coming back into the pits. And so at the moment then, Hamilton currently fastest at this stage. And he didn't take pole last season. That was his teammate Alonso. But Hamilton did win here last season, let's not forget. And wanted to challenge Alonso for the championship if he could, but due to bad luck, Alonso grabbed the 3rd title, and Hamilton looking to rewrite the script this season if he can, and so far he's got off to the best of starts in qualifying at the moment, as Hamilton just flicks it through the bus stop there, and into the box then goes Lewis Hamilton. And you can definitely tell he's the best when it comes to one-lap pace. So it's Hamilton at the top, Verstappen 2nd, Ocon 3rd, Alonso 4th, and Vettel rounding out the top 5 at the moment. So as we predicted, those 3 teams that did a good job during testing are within that group at the moment. And so far, Martini seem to be the ones just a tad bit closer to the Etihad and might have some more pace than EMR at this stage, but we will wait and see as Ricciardo now goes out on track for GRM. Ricciardo only 10th at the minute, and so he'll be able to try and see if he can get the car a little bit further up the field, considering his testing times from earlier on in the weekend, from last 2 weekends, and he'll be able to do that in front of his home fans, as we are here in Australia, the fans cheering him on and hoping to put on a good show if he can, as he will now go through the right-hander. And now, as we go close to the wall at the moment, Ricciardo now then heading up towards the chicane as he'll be preparing to start his next flying lap. And a lot of people pretty much, well, we questioned yesterday in the press conference, would something that happened to Leclerc last year happen similarly to Ricciardo by any chance? And team boss Oliver Glazebrook confirmed nor denied this, and at the same time I think George Roque also gave that indication as well. He's hoping that will not be the case, but he can understand that if it needs to be done like with Leclerc, he will have to accept that. But at the moment, as Oliver said, it doesn't need to go that direction so far, as at the moment it seems to be quite okay at the moment at GOM, as Ricciardo goes through the first 2 corners on the track, as he will now approach turn 3 now then on his next flying lap. And the fans cheering him on, as mentioned a little earlier on. And let's see what he's able to do then in this sector. And also the sponsor that they had on the top of the car has moved because of the new pattern that they have. So that's one of the changes as well on the GRM. But let's see now then. Ricciardo just flicking the car through in towards the right-hander. And let's see then what he's able to achieve then as he just flicks the car in through the section of corners. And Ricciardo now then looking to see if he is able to improve from 10th place at the moment as he just flicks the car through in towards the chicane. But let's wait and see now then as he will now, as the sparks come off the back of his GRM now then, flicking the car through the final 4 corners on track. Let's see what Danny Rick is able to do on this lap. He's currently P10. Is this going to be an improvement for the Aussie now then as he just goes through the final 2 corners then up towards the final corner then goes Daniel Ricciardo. And let's see what the timing is going to be for the Aussie then. Ricciardo down the pit straight and across the line goes Daniel Ricciardo, and he improves but only up to P9, so he's still behind the Suomis at this stage. Lewis Hamilton about to start his next flying lap, as is the man that's behind him. In fact, he's on a lap. In fact, Max Verstappen, can he try and get back to the top? Verstappen crosses the line and he improves to go fastest. So Verstappen now at the top of the timing sheet. So Verstappen finding that few hundredths of a second, I would say, and goes back to the top of the timing sheets. Bottas now then, let's see what he's able to do in the Eldorado. He goes up to 9th, so the Eldorado getting itself into the top 10. So far, Eldorado have been struggling in terms of testing. Same as this team, AMP. Verline stays 15th. Vern stays 18th, but improves his best time. He seems to be struggling around this track. Sergio Perez, can he get into the top 10 like his teammate? No, he can't. Stays 11th for the meantime. As up to 16th goes Stoffel Van Dorn. Esteban Ocon goes fastest. So Ocon now goes to the top of the timing sheet. So then Martini won front row again. Ocon goes to the top of the timing sheets. He's found a corner from testing, it appears. Dixon now then around the final 2 corners. Then we go. Let's see what Scott Dixon is able to do as he goes down the pit straight now. The Dixon is going to cross the lines. It's going to be an improvement then for the Kiwi. It isn't. He stays 20 for the moment. He's not last. It's still 7th for Kimi Raikkonen. Vettel stays 5th for the moment. Still 12th for Romain Grosjean. Here comes Ed Jones. Can he improve? And he does, but he stays in 22nd, still in last place at the minute. Here's Lewis Hamilton then. He's seen that the Martinis have been able to respond. Will Hamilton find a response on this lap then? Hamilton crossing the line. What can he do? And he goes fastest. Hamilton goes back to the top of the timing sheets. This is getting exciting in this qualifying session. And it's only been, what, 16 minutes? And already we've got excitement in this qualifying session. And, well, it looks like we've got a big battle for pole position if that is the case. Possibly between Ocon, Verstappen and Hamilton. And if Alonso can get his foot down, he might get himself inserted into that pole position battle as well, as he looks to defend his championship in his final season in IFMC. He's looking to make it 4 in a row before he leaves to do IndyCar. And so that's that then really. But at the moment, Hamilton back at the top with Ocon in 2nd, Verstappen 3rd, Alonso 4th, Vettel in 5th, Hülkenberg 6th, Raikkonen 7th, Magnussen in 8th, and then it is Bottas in 9th with Ricciardo rounding out the top 10 in 10th position. So that's currently what the top 10 currently looks like then, as we have now just over 18 minutes left in the session, just under 18 and a half to be precise, as Hamilton now then going up towards the final 4 corners then on the track as he'll be coming back into the pits. And so that's that then really, as they now go through the next few corners on the track. Let's see as Hamilton goes back into the pits. And now on the 125.497. So Hamilton at the top yet again. And when he gets back in, we'll be able to just clarify what the top 5 is. I think we already said it, but I think I was correct on that. We'll just double check to see if I am correct. And it is Hamilton, Ocon, Verstappen, Alonso and Vettel. They are the top 5 at the present moment. And what a qualifying session we've got in prospect here at Melbourne, as a few more cars came out. Magnussen, who's currently P8 at the minute, he looks like to have found some pace in the Suomi after what have been a tricky testing sessions for the Dane, but he's currently up in P8 at the moment and currently doing a good job at the moment, still being outpaced by experienced teammate Kimi Raikkonen, but still nonetheless doing a good job in the Suomi at the moment. And so far Juri Mata pretty happy about that, because I think he was a little bit concerned about Kevin Magnussen's pace in testing, but he seems to have turned up with some good pace here at Melbourne. And he hoping that will continue during the season, as Magnussen preparing to start his next flying lap now then, as we go through the next section of corners now then, as Magnussen preparing to start his next flying lap. So up towards the final 2 corners then goes Kevin Magnussen. Around the final corner and onto the pit straight goes K-Mag, and he's now going to start his lap. Looks like, I don't know if that was a... who was that waiting? It was an AMP that was waiting in the pits to get out onto the track in the form of Stoffel van Dorn. As through towards turns 1 and 2 goes Kevin Magnussen now then, as he will now go up towards turn 3. Let's see what K-Mag is able to do then on his lap, as he just flicks the car in, and now through the left-hander he goes, and the Suomi trying as much as he can to get his foot down here at Melbourne, using as much of the curb on the left-hand side as possible. And so far, looks to be a tight lap. I think Magnussen just gone out of the first sector there, and 900 off his personal best, but that's not really much. He could still get it back in the final 2 sectors, but we'll see as we have under 16 minutes left in this qualifying session, as Magnussen flicks the car in, as he'll go up towards the next chicane on the track now then. Sparks coming off the back of his Suomi. Let's see, through the left and right-hander goes Kevin Magnussen. As now, let's see what he's able to do then on this lap, as he'll go up towards the final 4 corners on the track. And so Magnussen now then flicking the car through the right-hander. He goes then up towards the final 2 corners goes Kevin Magnussen. And let's see what he's able to do then. Around the final corner and onto the pit straight goes K-Mag, and he's now going to cross the line now then. Magnussen, cross the line he goes, and he doesn't improve. Stays in P8 for the moment, still being outpaced by his teammate. Van Dorn has got out. Here's Nico Hulkenberg, currently 6th in the EMR. Let's see what Hulkenberg is able to do on this qualifying lap then. Hulkenberg round the final corner in his first race as an EMR driver. Hulkenberg doing a good job, but across the line goes Nico, and he improves but stays P6 for the moment. Here's Charles Leclerc in the Shadow Mercedes, and the first time running Mercedes power for Shadow. And let's see what Leclerc is able to do. Looks like one of the Martinis is behind. Leclerc crosses the line, improves to 12th at that time. Verstappen doesn't improve and stays in 3rd place. Looked like Leclerc may have held him up there because he was way off his personal best. As now Giovinazzi going through the final 2 corners then. Let's see what the Italian is able to do in the Bud Light line. Giovinazzi crossing the line. Is this going to be an improvement for the Italian? It is, but he stays 18th. Giovinazzi's still struggling around this track. Bottas stays P9, but improves on his best time. Perez, across the line he goes and stays P11 and also improves. So lap times starting to come down quite a bit. Hartley stays 17th. It's still 14th for Carlos Sainz Jr. Still 10th for Daniel Ricciardo. Oliver Rowland now then. Across the line he goes and he improves, but... does he? No, he doesn't improve. In fact, sorry, he stays 21st for the moment. Verline, like he was holding up someone, he stays 15th. Alonso stays 4th due to the hold-up, so he wasn't able to make any significant gain between his teammate and the 2 Martinis at the moment, as his former teammate hold him up there on his lap. So that cost him dear. As Van Dorn now then going around the final corner on his flying lap. Van Dorn across the line goes the Belgian. And let's see what he's able to do. And he does not improve and stays P16 for the moment. The AMP is for sure struggling at the moment. And so that's that really. As Verstappen goes back into the pits. Currently third, being outpaced by teammate Ocon at the moment in qualifying. But so far, 2 for Martini would put a smile on Cameron Anderson's face. That is for sure. And so... as Bottas now then going into the pits. Was anybody else on a lap in this group? It doesn't appear like it. We'll wait for another set of cars then to go out. And at the moment then, it is Hamilton fastest, Ocon 2nd, Verstappen 3rd, Alonso 4th, Vettel 5th, Hulkenberg in 6th, with Raikkonen 7th, Magnussen in 8th, Bottas 9th, Ricciardo in 10th, with Perez filling off that first half of the pack. And then I believe it is Leclerc who's got himself up into 12th place at the present moment. Looks like the 2 AMPs are locking out row number... is it the row number 8 on the grid at the moment? So 15 and 16. Verline currently outpacing Van Dorn. You can definitely tell the AMPs are definitely struggling when it comes to pace. It seems that their nightmares from last season have come back to haunt them. And they have said that this season is a make or break season. And so far, it's not got off to the best start for the Essex-based team. And, well, that's that really, as Van Dorn goes back into the pits. And that's that. Then as Jean-Louis Verne now out on track for GRM. He appears to be struggling at the moment, down in 19th place, seeming to struggle to find some pace in the car, not up to teammate Ricciardo. at this stage. So Verne now then, the man who leads the championship in real life in Formula E, now just going through turn 3 and through turn 4 he goes as he prepares to start his next flying lap on the track. As he just goes flat out through the right-hander, and he's preparing to get going then here in qualifying, hoping to see if he can try and make a big improvement from 19th place if he can. As also on track is Romain Grosjean. He's outside the top 10 at the moment. Bud Light line look like they're struggling around this track. Whether they've gone back to their Paul Ricard pace, I don't know, but that's that really. As Hamilton back out, the man currently at the top, looking to see if he can improve. As Magnussen's back out, Hulkenberg, Raikkonen, Giovinazzi, Ocon, who's currently second, back out, see if he can try and get Hamilton knocked off the top. As Leclerc goes out, as will Hartley, Roland, and Vettel. Those guys will be going out quite soon. You've got to look at how many laps they've got left. So Verne's got 2 flying laps to go, and so that's that really. If you look at it, because we know how Grand Prix 3 works when it comes to laps on this game. As Verne flicks the car through the final corner, as he will now start his next flying lap. And now he'll head down towards turn 1. The sparks coming off the back of his GRM now then. Flicking the car in. And so out the corner now then. Up towards turns number 3 will go Daniel Ricciardo. So wrong Red Bull driver. Son of it, Verne. And so now through turn 4 we go. The Frenchman had quite a good season last season when he joined towards the end of season 3, as which he got the drive for GOM in season 4, had a swap deal with Da Costa, but so far appears to be struggling this season. And obviously he got I think them 3 consecutive podiums last season when he was part of GRM, and it obviously made George Roque very happy, the team boss at GRM. And but so far it's not gone according to plan for Verne, and it looks like the team might have gone a little bit backwards into his performance this weekend. But they've still got the race. Maybe they're focusing on race pace, who knows. And I learned to fact as well when it comes to Grand Prix 3 and Grand Prix 4 that when it comes to free practice, which is what I use in testing, it actually uses the race pace stats, not the qualifying stats. So just bear mind on that. But oh well, as now you can see through the right-hander, as you can see now that Verne going up towards the final 2 corners then. Verne just going around the final corner. Let's see what Jev can do. As he will now head down the pit straight, and Verne is now going to cross the line. Whether that means much in IFMC, of course, I don't know. But that's that really. 19th still for Verne, no improvement for the Frenchman. Still 13th for Grosjean, still 22nd for Jones. Here comes Scott Dixon, who will now cross the line, and he stays in 20th at the moment. Lewis Hamilton, can he improve on his 1 minute 25.497? Across the line he goes, and he does, to a 1 minute 25.409. Hamilton improves at the moment. Still P8 for Kevin Magnussen, still P6 for look like Hulkenberg. I think he improved actually on his time. Still 7th for Kimi Raikkonen. Here comes Antonio Giovinazzi in the Bud Light line. He stays 18th for the moment. Here comes Esteban Ocon, the Frenchman, now then going through the final 2 corners on the track, and let's see what he's able to achieve now then. Round the final corner and onto the pit straight goes Esteban Ocon. Across the line he goes, and he stays 2nd at the moment. No improvement for the Frenchman, so he stays where he is for the meantime. As here comes Charles Leclerc, and he improves but stays in 12th place at the moment. Hartley now then across the line he goes, and he stays 17th for the moment. Roland now then through the final corner and onto the pit straight he goes. Roland across the line he goes, and does not improve, stays in 21st. Vettel stays 5th for the moment, as Grosjean just going through the final 2 corners on the track. And everybody has finished off a lap, but still Hamilton fastest, with Ocon in 2nd place for the minute, and then it is Verstappen 3rd, and at the moment Alonso 4th place. I think we should expect Alonso to come out quite soon. I don't know how many flying laps he's got left, but these guys have got at least 1 more flying lap left. Of his just over 7 minutes left now there. Then in the session we have just reached the 1:30 mark, and so that's pretty much that then really. In under 40 minutes the first qualifying session for MotoGP should be getting underway as well. So that's that really. So we should be finished before then. As Vettel now then getting the car through the corners now then, and Vettel out of the corner now then up towards the final 4 corners on the track will go the German as sparks come off the back of his EMR there. And he'll be heading back into the pits. Is anybody else going out on the track? It seems they're still waiting around at the minute. And luckily for Vettel, Roland didn't hold him up on that lap he was on previously. As just under now 6.5 minutes left, as we still wait for some track activity to grace our presence, and we have some in the form of Valtteri Bottas. So Bottas now then going out onto the track. So Bottas going out there now then, as he just goes through the first few corners on the track, and now Bottas then focusing now then on the lap as he now goes through the right-hander, and through he goes. And Bottas preparing now then for his next flying lap. We'll be hoping to go higher than 9th if he can. So the sparks coming off the back of the Eldorado at the moment. Verstappen back out in the Martini. So he's now back out onto the track, as is Daniel Ricciardo. So he's out there as well. As is Fernando Alonso, hoping to get some clear if he can, and hopefully try and close in on Verstappen, Ocon and his teammate Hamilton at the moment. Try and see if he can make it an Etihad front row if he can. An all Etihad front row, I should say, for the first time since, the last time they did that in Australia was in season 1 when Alonso and Bottas locked out the front row. And Alonso hoping to do that if he can today. And the conditions look perfect for him to do that, so no reason why he can't. As his fellow compatriot, Carlos Sainz Jr. is out on track, as is Ed Jones in the Mars Grand Prix car. Pascal Wehrlein now then out on track for AMP, as Grosjean out on track he goes. Van Dorn is as well. Perez, Raikkonen, Verne and Ocon will be as well, and we'll be expecting Dixon to also join these guys as well. But Bottas heads down the pit straight to start his final flying lap with just under 5 minutes left of the session. Bottas now then up towards turn 1 we go, and flicks the car in, nicely done. And let's see then as he goes up towards turn 3 on the track. The Eldorado, of course, has been struggling during testing, and they're hoping to try and pick up the pace if they can, as Bottas flicks the car through the left-hander. And let's see now then what the Eldorado is able to achieve on this lap now then, as he just goes out of the first sector. And so far it appears to be a clean lap for the Flying Finn. But at the moment his fellow compatriot Kimi Raikkonen is currently out qualifying him at the moment in 7th place. And Bottas hoping to rewrite the script on his final flying lap if he can. And it will be a task, considering, as I mentioned a little earlier, Eldorado have struggled in testing. But they're hoping to pull that off if they can, as Bottas now then goes through the chicane. And he'll now go up towards the final 4 corners, and the sparks coming off the back of his car now then. And let's see then what Valtteri is able to do, as he now just goes through the final 3 corners. Then up towards the final corner goes Valtteri Bottas, and let's see then what the Finn is able to achieve. Around the final corner and onto the pit straight goes Valtteri Bottas, and he's now going to cross the line, and he goes up to 7th, so an improvement for Bottas. He manages to out-qualify Kimi Raikkonen, so he's up into P7 on his final flying lap. Verstappen goes up to 2nd, so Verstappen now onto the front row, pushes his teammate down to 3rd. Ricciardo does not improve and stays 10th. Alonso stays 4th, no improvement, so no front row lockout then for Etihad. It appears they'll be split up by the Martinez, as Dixon starts his final flying lap as an improvement for Sainz, but he stays 14th with that lap. Here is Ed Jones then in the Mars Grand Prix car, currently last at the moment. Can he get out of last place as he heads out of the final corner and onto the pit straight? Jones now then across the line he goes, and he stays 22nd, no improvement, as it's still 15th for Pascal Wehrlein. AMP again look to be struggling this season. Grosjean, can he get the car into the top 10 across the line? And he improves but stays in 13th place. Disappointment for Bud Light Line Motorsport as well. Van Dorn improves but stays in 16th place. Still out qualified by teammate Wehrlein. So row 8 lockout for AMP, as it's still 11th for Sergio Perez. Kimi Raikkonen, can he improve across the line? Nope, stays 8th with that lap. Jean-Eric Vergne crosses the line and stays 19th, no improvement. Here comes Esteban Ocon, across the line he goes, and he doesn't improve, stays 3rd place for the moment, and it's looking good for Lewis Hamilton at the moment to take pole position, as well, looked like there was a little bit of oversteer there for Scott Dixon. Looked like Dixon was pushing too hard on that lap now then, as he'll now go up towards the final 2 corners. And let's see what Dixon is able to do then. Round the final corner and onto the pit straight goes Scott Dixon. I'm expecting a few more cars to complete their final flying laps unless the timing says otherwise. And he does not improve. He stays 20th with that lap. No improvement then for Scott Dixon. Hamilton looks like he's just going to get a mileage run in. It looks like Hamilton's just going to be doing that then just to check things out. But it is looking good for him to get pole. Same for Leclerc, as I don't think they'll now have enough time to do a final flying lap. So all things good. Lewis Hamilton is taking pole position for the first race at the Australian Grand Prix, and the top 4 consisting of Etiads and Martinis, with the EMRs right behind them on row number 3. So that's that then, really. Bottas able to improve on that lap there then, and so that's that then at the moment, as now Dixon just goes through the chicane. And Dixon will be heading back into the pits. Hamilton is out, as is Leclerc. And also expected to do a mileage run is Sebastian Vettel. So those 3 guys doing mileage runs, it appears. Hamilton, Leclerc and Vettel. So now Hamilton just goes through the flat out right-hander, as he will now go through turn 6 on the track. And Hamilton then just seeing if all the systems are okay on the Etihad, as we look at the countdown. Under 30 seconds left in this qualifying session, and Hamilton getting as close to the wall as possible, just possibly getting a race pace in during this outlap, really just testing how his race pace is, as now going through the chicane. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Checkered flag is out, and that is the end of the session. Of course, as I mentioned that as well, I heard him possibly be checking the setup he's got planned for the race. He can't do much about the engine because, as you know, in this series they have 2 different engines, a qualifying engine and a race engine as well. Both of them carrying different types of horsepower. So that's that. Hamilton crosses the line and finishes off his mileage run then, as will Charles Leclerc in the B team Shadow Mercedes. The B team to Etihad, I should say. So Leclerc now then crosses the line and he finishes off his mileage run. He's had quite a decent qualifying session, it must be said. It's only just Vettel now to complete the mileage run before we end this qualifying session. Vettel now then through the corners he goes down and up towards the final 4. Then goes Sebastian Vettel, and he will complete his final his mileage run. He looks like it's going to be P5 on the grid for Sebastian Vettel. So EMR looking like they've locked out row 3 for tomorrow's race. Vettel now then through the final corner and onto the pit straight, and Vettel now then across the line he goes, and there you go then, qualifying over, and as a result Lewis Hamilton has taken pole position for the Australian Grand Prix. Etihad kick off where they left off, but it's Lewis Hamilton who's clearly upped his game and has taken pole position for the Australian Grand Prix. So there you have it then, guys. After all of that, here is the grid for tomorrow's Australian Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton is on pole position with Max Verstappen in 2nd, Esteban Ocon 3rd, Fernando Alonso 4th, Sebastian Vettel 5th, Nico Hulkenberg 6th, Valtteri Bottas in 7th with Kimi Räikkönen 8th, Kevin Magnussen in 9th, Daniel Ricciardo rounding out the top 10 in 10th, Sergio Perez 11th, Charles Leclerc 12th, Romain Grosjean a disappointing 13th, with Carlos Sainz Jr. in 14th position. And if we scroll down the rest of the field, Pascal Wehrlein 15th, Stoffel Vandoorne in 16th, AMP again struggling with Brendan Hartley 17th, Antonio Giovinazzi way down the field in 18th, a lot to do for him tomorrow. Jean-Eric Vergne as well, disappointing for him, he starts 19th, Scott Dixon in 20th, Oliver Rowland 21st, and Ed Jones in 22nd and last. But there you have it then, guys, that is the grid for the Australian Grand Prix, and that is it for this live stream. I hope you've enjoyed it. It has been a very entertaining qualifying session. The Martinis keeping the Etihads honest, but in the end, Hamilton showing his experience and showing why he is the best in terms of 1 lap pace, especially in real life as well. But there you have it then, guys. That has been it. I hope you have enjoyed it. We will see you then, guys, tomorrow at the same time of 1 PM GMT for the 58 lap Australian Grand Prix. But until then, I've been JWF1. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for the 58 lap race here at Melbourne. Until then, take care.